I have a question for you, I think. You're on the board?
Yeah.
On the school board?
Yeah.
A question for you. I understand you folks there's been a proposal for a tax cap on the school board. Do you support that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
It was at the deliberative session. It was brought up.
Oh, way back during the vote?
Yeah.
So now we're on the rim of the canyon. The rim of the canyon does not have streams on the surface. When it rains, which is not all that often, but when it rains, what happens is that the water soaks in. So if you had a rainstorm, you see the water start to make a stream, but then it soaks in. What happens to that water? It goes down through the spaces in the rocks until it hits a rock that it can't get through, such as the Bright Angel Shale. Then it runs along laterally, and it comes out at those beautiful springs that we see in the canyon. Now what's happening up here is there's more and more people want to live here, and they want to have water, so they drill wells. And after you drill a well, you suck the water out, and you use it to water your grass, or your crops, or your golf course, or to drink, or flush, or what have you, and eventually it evaporates. And so what you're doing is removing the water that should be running to the springs. And there's worry, it's not happening yet, but there is worry that someday we may start to lose the springs in the Grand Canyon and their unique biota, the wonderful ecosystems that live down there, because of development outside of the park up here.
James. Great. Thank you very much, Mark. I love that photo there of the desk strewn with bottles and rubbish and sweet wrappers and all that kind of stuff, because so often my office looks like that. Please pick up the cards in front of you, these ones here, these hexagonal cards, and have a look at them. These are the Zing cards, and all I'm going to do is take a little bit of time and explain very, very briefly what Zing is and how it can be used. So you have a board on your table, and in the bottom left-hand corner there is a box called Idea, and literally that is where somebody would write in an idea for a business. It could be, in a university setting, you are giving them a scenario. So they've got a case study, and they're given some information beforehand, or it could be their very own business idea which they wish to start, or have started. And they write that down in the bottom left-hand corner. In the top right-hand corner is the goal. Very simple. And in terms of Zing, we only ask for two things. We ask for A, that the goal is quantifiable. It has some numbers related to it, and so you know when you've reached it. And secondly, that it has a time frame. And so what you then have up between idea and goal, a diagonal line, if you can imagine, which is a timeline, running from where you are now, having created your idea, to where you want to get to, your goal. As simple as that. Then, if you have a look at those cards, there are a series of cards. We have 5 different categories. Leave the reds to one side for the moment. In green we have finance, blue we have people, in yellow we have actions, which is basically operations, orange marketing, the purpley brown colour is strategy, and the red ones are about risk. We'll leave those to one side. Now when you're working with students and using Zing, the student does the work, and the tool provides the content, actually, provides the directions that go through it. And so simply what students would do, they've got their idea and they've got their goal, and first of all they would just pick out a card at random. And I've picked out a card that simply says develop website. They have a glossary of terms, and they would turn to the glossary of terms then and read the process of designing and implementing the structure and content of your website to maximize awareness and fulfill information needs. Very simple, but they have to read from the glossary the definition for each of the cards as they come up to it. Because what we want them to do, I'm not precious about our definitions, but I want them to agree a definition so they're all on the same page before they make a decision. decision of whether this, developing a website, is important to them or not. The next thing they need to do is, right, we know we need to develop a website. So when do we need to develop it? And the board, if you can see on the board in front of you, is divided into 3 different coloured areas, slightly different shading. Stuff you're going to do now, stuff you're going to do soon, and stuff you're going to do later. Just simply as that. And so they have to decide, first of all, developing a website, when do we need to do that? Let's say we need to do that really early on, and they place it there. It's their first stepping stone on building their strategy. They then draw out another card. I've drawn out this is an actions card, so basically operations, but it says develop a full business plan. Okay, that's something that we need to do. They would read from the glossary, yeah, we agree a definition of what that means for us, and then they decide whether they need to actually do this, and when they need to do it, now, soon, or later. And they're going to say, oh right, well actually we need to do this really early on. In fact, that's probably the first thing we need to do. They then go on and draw another card. And this card says, conduct secondary research. Do we need to go and talk to whom our potential customers are? Yeah, I think we probably do need to do that. And actually, do we need to do that before we can possibly write a business plan? And actually, probably before we could possibly even think about developing a new website. So actually, these things need to move out a bit more now. And that's something we need to go and talk to our customers really early on. So in a group discussion, they begin to build up a strategy whereby each of these stepping stones takes them on a journey all the way up to their goal. As simple as that. Now, some of the cards, they'll be closely related. So conducting secondary research and developing a full business plan are very closely related. And in which case they would touch, and you're showing that there is an association. You have to do this, conduct the research, directly before you can write your business plan. So it starts creating these associations in their mind. So very, very quickly they're developing a sophisticated business plan, a strategy as they go through, but not sitting down in front of a computer, not doing it focused, but actually working together as a team. What are they doing when they're going through that process? They're learning loads and loads of business terms, even if the business that they're working on, the idea they're working on is a scenario and it's not theirs. They're learning lots about business terms, but they're also learning about different ways to build strategy and how things work together. And certain things have to be done in certain ways. I want to just show you a little video to start with, if we can map it out.
Now to start the zinging, which hopefully will kind of uncover some of the details that we don't, obviously not a lot of us are kind of business thinkers. By and large, you wouldn't ordinarily, or I wouldn't ordinarily